how many, so you got out of the marriage 5 months later,
right?
How many of young girls stay in this marriages?
So many.
Because again, the society says it's okay.
Yes, so many stay in.
Yeah.
So many stay in. They have no option. And I think what makes my story unique is that I feel God gives me options. And or maybe even the idea of thinking of options. Because most of these girls, I can even talk about very close people, my cousins and stuff, they feel like they don't have that option of getting out. You understand? So wanafanya tu wanabaki, and then people tell them, you have kids, the kids needs their fathers and all this nonsense. So it even buries them more in those marriages that they're not even supposed to be there in the first place.
Okay.
Munira, pengine kwa sababu ulikuwa unapitia dhiki, unapitia madhila, unahangaika, na ulitoka baada ya miezi 5. So mtu atajiuliza, huyu alikuwa anapitia haya magumu, kwa nini ilichukua muda mrefu? Ni karibu nusu mwaka ndio ukaweza kutoka. Ni vitu gani ambavyo kwamba vilikuwa vinafanyika hapa katikati mpaka wewe ukaweza kufaulu kutoka kwenye kipindi cha almost nusu mwaka?
Half of the year.
Yes.
So what happened is that I was married outside the county. Now that was Kilifi County. And I felt like I need to tolerate it to an extent that I wouldn't be able to tolerate it anymore. So the first month, normally the first two months is always bliss because mtu makucha zake hazijatoka.
Okay.
And then he started going through financial issues, and that's when it all erupted. Now that was on the end of the 3rd month. So my dad came in, assisted us financially, and then he just squandered all the money. And now the 4th month we had to move. Now that coming to the 5th, we were in between houses, his house, his parents and my parents. So ndo ikafika mahali, I told my dad, listen, you have a big house, let's give us a space, because where I was taken, it was that place was like something else. And vile nimekulia, I was not used to kwenda kuchota maji nje, choza nje. So it was a nightmare for me. So we came back to my dad's house. He gave us a room, and I thought he will change. He didn't. He was the same human. And that's when I decided, no, that's it. I told him, move out, like we're done.
Oh, you told him move out?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I think with me, I'm very vocal, and that really, really helps. Because I'm like, wale watoto spendi kuonewa. So that really has come through for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So hapa at 19 wakati ukiingia kule ulikuwa pengine umesoma ukafikia wapi?
So by the time I was 19, nilikuwa nimesoma mpaka class 5. Like I had completed class 5. When I started joining class 6, that's when I was plucked out of school. Main reasons ni hivyo. My dad is Arab from Yemeni, and most Yemeni don't. Then at least now kidogo wako wanaelewa. They don't believe in a girl child being in school. Like hawaoni muhimu ya msichana kwa shule. Because now usi utaolewa, unafauzae ukae uangalie watoto uangalie bwanako. Like that's just it for the Muslim girl. Let me put it this way, for a Yemeni girl, like it's about you getting married, giving birth, taking care of the kids, and that's it for you. Like that's it. So for me, I think my mom's blood boiled in me and told me, like, you need to go back to school. So that's why right after I got actually the Qadi forced this guy to annul the marriage. So right after that, I was supposed to stay 3 months, it's a waiting period for the 3 months. So exactly when I completed the 3 months, that's when I started my studies. I went back to Polytechnic. I went to Polytechnic, I met the HOD. That time ndo computers ndiko zinaanza, kuna ile craze ya computer. So yeah, I told him I want to study, and he's like, you can't study because you don't have your grade 8 certificate. I'm like, I don't know, you see what you'll do, but I want to be in the coming class. So after back and forth, he was like, okay, sawa, you can join, but this is the fee structure. So I went around finding for someone who can sponsor me. Alhamdulillah, I got Siraj from Kisauni, Mahad Kisauni. He gave me the entire fees, and that's when my life in education started.
Yeah. Okay, so you got into the Polytechnic. Actually, it's good to hear that. Yeah, because again, not everybody gets to break free.
Right.
Yeah. So as you're in Polytechnic, you've not done your KCPE at this moment.
Yes.
So now what are you studying for?
Computers operation and business application.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was the youngest. I was actually the youngest in the class.
Yeah.
So akinita baby wetu. It was good because I always tell my friends, like, if Mr. Arif, his name, Mr. Arif, if he wouldn't have given me that chance, I don't know what he saw in me, but if he wouldn't have given me that chance, I wouldn't have been where I am today.
Yeah.
So he gave me that chance. He made me feel like I can do it, and I did it.
Yeah.
And I was happy. The other day I went back at Polytechnic and I was training the students on market access. And I was telling my friends whom I was there with, can you believe this is where my journey started?
Yeah.
Like, this very space is where my journey started. And I came back. I felt like I was giving back because I came back and I was training students from the same facility that grew me. Yeah.
And how is the reception at home at this moment when you say that you're going back to school?
Actually, no one was speaking to me. No one was speaking to me in the house.
Lakini unapata chakula na
the food is there, like I can sleep, but like that's that was it. But can you imagine, I don't think mental stability is more important than food. Like that food, how will you even have the taste of that food if
nobody's speaking?
Exactly. So, and the worst part, this is where most people don't understand. These men, subhanallah, they act so pious. Behind closed doors, they are animals. So the family members saw that part of him, like he was a good guy. But now they didn't see what he does behind closed doors. Because that's how they act. That's how narcissists are. They act so good and nice and all that, but behind closed doors, they're animals. So I think most of these young women who are in forced marriages, their husbands could be acting that way. And then now the parents don't see the reason why you want out. Because he's a very nice man. He prays 5 times a day. He does this, he does that. So it makes it even harder.
Okay. We are speaking to Munira S. And we're talking about forced marriages. But then, despite that experience, Munira went ahead and started an organization.
Right.
The Dean Foundation. Yes. And she's going to tell us, what does the Dean Foundation do? How does it help girls who were in a similar position as her? Right? And then she also she finished her KCSE in 2022.
Yes.
Yeah. What is that drive about? 0700917917. If you have a question, do share. Good morning. Or a comment. We're talking about forced marriages and also how you can actually get out of one if you are in one that you do not like. Okay? So, Munira, like we said, a lot of women find themselves in this position, and again the society says it's the norm, right? And again, you've talked about your culture where they don't believe in a girl's education. Again, there are people who find themselves in that situation. For somebody who's thinking about breaking free, how do they go about it? Because we only have one life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say you had that will. and you fought the system.
Right.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, you fought the system despite going to your dad and your family and everybody saying this is okay. You fought the system. What would you tell the young person who's listening in and they're thinking, I'm stuck in this space and I want to get out?
Right before I was waiting to come in, I was listening to this lady who was like advising women who are in marriages that you need to understand that you only have one life to live.
Yeah.
And it's you against the world. So you need to make a decision, and your decision needs to be very intentional. Like, I'm getting out of here. Okay, now what next? So I think before you move out, you need to know the what next.
Yeah.
Like you need to have a plan, because now if you just get out bila mpango yoyote, you'll end up like being in the worst space.
Yeah.
So be intentional in what you're going to do. If you need to get out, make sure you're financially stable, or you have a career in plan, or you have a skill in plan, meaning when you go out there you can keep on sustaining yourself. Or if you have kids, even sustain your kids as well.
But sometimes the situation is so dire. If we're to compare, again, for somebody who gets married at an early age, you just finished, probably just finished primary school, right?
Yeah.
And again, no certificate, no papers, no
Right.
work. So, like you said, they don't see that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like,
Yeah, most of them.
This is all I have.
Yeah.
For that person, do they still wait and be in this abusive space?
And now that's the reason why we have these organizations all around Mombasa, even in Nairobi, everywhere in Kenya, where you can be heard. There's so many women out there that can help such girls to go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Like in my organization, I do help such girls, and I look for donors, and I look for funds to help them. Now, for me, it's mostly educationally. I don't have that much fund, like renting them a space and all that. No, but I can give them the skills. I give them the how to. What they're supposed to do and what they should do, and that's just much about it.
Okay, so after finishing your computer studies, was that when you also decided that now you're going to do your KCSE? How did that come about?
Actually, now this is the funniest part. Because I was in a situation where there was no communication, and I think I was born a communicationist. I like to talk. I talk a lot. I've been in trouble in class because of noise making. I talk a lot. So being in a situation where no one is talking to you, like there's no communication in the environment, I approached one of my mentors. May God bless her. She's still around and she's still my mentor. I approached Madina, and I was like, Auntie Madina, I was like, I need to get out of Mombasa. Like, how can you help me? And now this is where I also motivate girls and tell the girls, like, you need a mentor. You must have a mentor. Like you must have someone who can be able to do things for you. Especially for me, I will always prefer girls to go with women, young, older women, any woman who can help. So this woman in particular was very instrumental in my future. She was very instrumental, because I told her, listen, I don't have much. I just have certificate in Arabic for madrasa, and now my certificate for the poly. Now I just need to get out. Luckily, she had a sister who was in Nairobi. This is the late Yusuf Haji's wife. God rest his soul in peace. She had a school in Parklands, Mulkura. So it's a nursery school, and then they had a college in the same vicinity. And the lady was like, you can just let her come. She can teach Arabic and for the young kids.
Oh, nice.
So I did that. And now because the other ladies who were studying early childhood education, break time, they will be in the same area and we could talk. And then I was like, okay, I need to be in this class to be able to have my own class, teach. So I approached the HOD then, the principal, Dr. Mujahid, and I could listen to him speak, and I really admired his intellectual conversation. And I told him, listen, I want to be like you. And he smiled and he's like, you can't be like me. Then he had a master's. I had no idea what master's was. So it's like, you can't be like me because you don't even have a KCPE. So I think that's where you should start.
Yeah.
And I like, tell me, where should I get it? No, you have to study, you have to register. Then he gave me all the points of how to go about it.
Yeah.
And I told him, fine, I'll do the KCPE. That's how I started doing my KCPE. And at the same time, because there was classes, the early childhood education classes going on, I also asked if I could join in the afternoon. So morning time I could go to I could cycle into classes, the PP 1, 2, 3, and in the afternoons I could join the early childhood class and take the notes zile za asubuhi. And by the end of that year, now I had my KCPE because I had sat for my certificate for KCPE, and then I had sat for the early childhood education. So the following year they actually gave me a full class because I was qualified to have a full class. So I was given the reception class, and that's where my teaching education journey started.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Nikurudishe nyuma kidogo hapa kwa hii masaa ya asubuhi ulikuwa unasoma. Wewe ndio
mimi nafundisha watoto IRE madrasa class.
Kwa hiyo hii KCP hukuisomea?
I self studied.
Okay.
Weird, right?
Yeah, because I'm picking
Salim anashangaa.
Mimi watoto jana nimeona ulikuwa wazungumza afu kataja Aunty Madina. Focus nikakuangalia, so najua Aunty Madina.
Yes.
Nishapita kwenye mikono yake. Kando na hiyo, because umesema mtoto wa kike lazima awe na mentor. Na wewe umepata hiyo fursa ya kwamba mimi nishazunguka naye sana.
Yeah.
Umepata fursa ya kuwa na Aunty Madina. So yeye amefanya vile ambavyo kwamba amefanya. Yule ambaye anakusikiliza hivi sasa anajiuliza, wewe ulimpata Aunty Madina, sisi tuna bahati gani kwenye jamii ya kukutana na mtu wa sampuli hii?
They have me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is where I come in.
Yeah. I like that. That's where you come in.
Yes.
So now let's talk about Dean Foundation.
Yes.
Why you started Dean Foundation?
So
how it came about?
Okay. Now I did I think from the point where I did my I had finished and I was a teacher, fully fledged teacher, but I still had the urge, like bado sijafikia, like I was still thirsty for education. And I spoke to one of the parents, mwanafunzi wangu, one of the best students I had. I told the dad that, listen, can you sponsor me do KCSE? I need to be in school.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, he accepted and he paid for me first term school. I actually joined a school. That was when I was 20, I think, or 21. I joined in a school with uniform and all that. I directly went to Form 3.
Yeah.
But I did the first term. Actually, the teachers couldn't even believe I've never been into a secondary school because I used to perform very well. But now the kicker was I couldn't sustain myself because now that was just a first.
Yes. First
yeah,
time.
yeah. So I stopped that and I joined LGCSE. It was very convenient because in the mornings I could go around and do my classes, and then in the evenings I could work. So that's how I could sustain myself. So I stopped that part. Now I joined LGCSE. It's easier, you just do 5 subjects. But again, fast forward 2022, I approached I went to Moi University. I met now the CCM, Dr. Mbarali, and I told him, listen, I want to do a university degree. Like, this is the time. And then he goes like, let me see your papers, LGCSE. No, you need a KCSE. I'm like, no, I can't do KCSE. I've never been to a high school like Kuisome and all that. He's like, I don't care. You do it. Like, I need that certificate. Get a D, get an E, get whatever, but go back to school. So I went back to school. I did my KCSE, and fortunately I got a C-. I was expecting a B or the likes, but with our education system and all that, I scored that, so I couldn't get into education. I really wanted to do education. So I was locked out of being a teacher in Kenya. Actually, that's very sad. Now I branched into doing training. So before that, when I came back to Mombasa, Okay, there's kuna gap kubwa sana hapa tumeacha because I left, I went to South Africa by bus. Took me a whole week to be in South Africa, and I thought I would get that American, like kuna soma unafanya kazi, because South Africa, and apparently they have one of the best universities in the world, and maybe in Africa, and I was like hapa huko ndo naenda, and like I went there, but it wasn't that way, so I had to work. I couldn't study. Now when I came back to Kenya, raised my kids, I was like closed off, and then 6 years later or 7 years later, I was like, now okay, watoto washakuwa wanaanza kwenda shule full time, what can I do? And before even looking for a job, I was like, how do I give back to the community? Like, how do I help?
Yeah.
And that's where I started helping. I started speaking to girls, but it was very informal. And then it reached a point where they needed me to finance them. If they want to go back to school, there's an amount to pay for the certificate and all that. I couldn't afford. And this friend tells me, hey, you know what, just register this organization, and it's going to be easier for you to get funds and to be able to, like, utakuwa uko officially, you'll be official. So that's when I registered Dean in 2022. Basically the reason why I started Dean is now because one, you said where can people find such mentors, and I actually shout out to schools, and I'm like, take my number, you need someone to speak to, I'm here. You need someone to listen, I'm here. You need some guidance, I'm here. So I go to schools and tell them and give them my number. And I've been getting calls, what should I do? How can I do this? Like I do help in that capacity. And also I want these girls to feel heard. These girls don't have, majority don't have Auntie Madina. Majority don't have Dr. Mujahid. Majority of them, especially from my community, can't speak out. So I have like to poke them, like, what's wrong? Why are you not performing? Why are you missing school? Like I need to poke them for them to speak out and to tell me what's the problem they have. And I also had I also have a friend who is very good in coaching. So I also would like to partner them with a coach and wawasaidie kuamka, because I feel obligated to do that because I was helped. I need to help. So
what do you talk to them about? Do you share your story? Do you tell them why it's important to go to school? What do you talk to them about? So there's this community, I like to call it marginalized community, because I was part of it. No, the girls who completely cover themselves. So I was part of that community. And I have no problem with the way they dress. It's a decision they've made, so it's totally okay. But now what I feel very sad about is that they're so closed off. They don't know most of what's happening out there, because I was part of that community, so I know what's happening there. We talk a lot about religion and being good and being role models for our children, being good wives and all that, but whatever is really happening out there, hatuna hiyo information. I visited my one of the madrasas that I used to go, and about 100 and so girls and women who were there. And when I was giving them talks and I asked, who knows about Women Fund? Raise your hand. Like 3 hands. Who knows about Youth Fund? Like 2 hands. You see such things. So I felt obligated to be the bridge between them and what's out there. So whatever is good for them, nawapelekea kule. And also I'm going to start the first cohort, maybe most probably May, for business development. I do it with like that's my career. So I want to, because they have to be in a certain environment. They don't mix with men and all that. So I'm taking the education to them, so they don't have to change anything around them. So I'll start the first cohort for business development with these young girls and women. Wow. Okay.
Kuna issue na sijui tutaita ni forgiveness na vitu kama hizo, kwa sababu ulipitia kule nyuma kutokana na familia kana kwamba wamekutenga, vitu kama hivyo. Sahihi kuliendaje after kuona hii maendeleo yako ama the effort yenye umeweka?
Okay, along my journey, the thing that makes me the happiest is when I finished my LGCSE. I did public relations diploma in customer service. So when that was done and dusted, I actually photocopied all my documents and sent it to my dad. Then it was kulikuwa kuna poster, siku hizi hakuna poster. So when he actually, my sister was telling me, when he actually opened the envelope and started perusing through my documents, he was shocked. As in, huyu msichana mdogo, what is this?
Yeah.
He was shocked. He teared up. My dad really tears up.
Yeah.
And now he was like telling my siblings, angalieni mwenzenu anafanya bidii, nyinyi mmekaa tu hapa. So actually that was the proudest moment. Like,
Yeah.
I never expected for him to see it as a thing.
Yeah.
My dad was very educated. He was an auditor with the Kenya Revenue Authority. So he knew deep down, I believe he knew the importance of education, but always culture, religion will always overshadow your thinking. You understand? So he was so happy that I had not spoken to him for almost 3 years. The following day, he took a bus to Nairobi.
Wow.
And he met me. We had lunch. He saw where I was staying. Nilikuwa naishi Mlango, for those who knows Nairobi. And he's like, where are you nini mahali unaishi? He actually moved me to, he had a house in Kariakoo, very nice place. So he moved me to, so he supported me. But again, now when I was telling them that I want to go to South Africa, a whole started again. So again, when I left to South Africa, I hadn't spoken to him for another 3 years maybe. And alhamdulillah, some few months before he died, we had a conversation. And he could call me every other Sunday, and we could speak, and he could ask me like, where are you? And I was at Gold Reef City working then. We work on Sundays, so Mondays ni off. And then he goes like, mbona unafanya kazi Sunday? These people, they're overworking you. And I'm like, no, Sunday kesho ndo tuko na off. And he could say the same thing. Like, I think ugonjwa ilikuwa imemshika, now he was a bit, I think, forgetful or something. Because he could ask the same thing every Sunday. Until the last when he died, and like that was sad for me, because I was hoping to prove him wrong. I couldn't get to do that.
No, but I think I'm sorry about your dad's loss, but I think he also saw the progress, and he was proud. He was proud in his own way.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah.
So for girls who want to join the Dean Foundation, how do they go about it? To reach out to you? Yeah.
So basically what I do, I give out my number. I don't know if I can share it here.
Okay.
Yes, I give out my number, 0717 513 233. Again, 0717 513 233. Give me a call. Tell me what you want, how I can assist you. We take it from there.
And this is not just this is also even for those people who are still in marriages and they want to develop, they want to grow, and they want to go back to school. Right? Okay then. Thank you so much, Munira, for sharing your story.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
I've picked the drive. There's that drive, there's motivation, and then what I've learned from your story is all you have to do is ask. Because if you listen to her story, she asked, I want to do this. How do I do this? And to the next person, I want to do this. How do I do this?
Right.
And human beings are willing to help.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like for every person you asked, they offered a helping hand.
They did.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.